Happiness is not a pleasure. Rather, it is a feeling. When you ride a roller coaster, that's a pleasure, which is an emotion. When you gamble or smoke cigarettes or do something you shouldn't be doing, it is a pleasure. You can create pleasure whenever you want. It's very easy for most of us who have at least a little more to work with than our basic needs. Eat some ice cream, go on Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, do something you know you shouldn't be doing. You can even determine the time and place of battle. But it is not without its consequences. The Art of Worldly Wisdom says, walk through the gates of pleasure and you lead through the door of suffering. The Art of War says, if you do not know the disadvantages in the use of arms, you cannot possibly know the advantages. And in this case, the use of arms will be the equivalent to what you are doing with your time, and at what opportunity cost of something you could be doing, which is actually better for you than what you are doing, and not because it brings you pleasure. What you should be doing is likely to involve some displeasure, which is probably the reason why you're not doing it. Mastering the Art of War says that pleasure and displeasure should not be arbitrary. You should not go along with those who do harm because it brings you pleasure, nor should you go against those who are right because they bring you displeasure. Each represents a side of you, one that wants to move forward and get ahead, and one that wants to do something else. You know, happiness is a feeling you get when you or someone else who affects you has done something good, the right way, helpful to yourself and or others that you care about. This is the only thing that can make you happy. It is a universal law which applies to all people. You know, happiness is a reflective feeling that depends entirely on your past actions. You know, the things that got you here. You know, usually the recent past. You know, people use the words feeling and pleasure interchangeably, but they're not. Feelings come from a place that we don't know anything about, and they're always right. Feelings are a distant voice that is faint, a dim light that barely shines from over the hills. You know, feelings evoke thoughts, and those thoughts can evoke certain emotions, which can bring pleasure, or they can bring some negative emotions of anger, fear, confusion, depression, all of which stem from one of two extremes, greed and possessiveness. You must direct the state of your mind and not let the world direct it. The Art of War says if you know yourself, that is the first 50% of winning. This means stepping back to look at yourself as others see you, not as you see yourself. Even if they are wrong, it is still the reality that you must deal with. The second 50% of winning in any battle is in knowing others, but others could mean ice cream, cigarettes, gambling, doing things you should not be doing, etc. Not just people. But that's another side of yourself that you are battling. If you know that some social media or influence has go throughout your day, how it affects your day, and you know that you have the willpower to only allow yourself a half hour to do that, then you know yourself and you know others. In this case, whatever it is that has that influence. So this concept applies to all things that influence you. Therefore, doing the things that you know you should be doing in every area of your life as much as possible is the only true way to be completely happy. And using The Art of War by Sun Tzu, which is the only complete book of principles of strategy and how they're all connected and can help you get there if used correctly. You know, to the degree that you fall short on trying your best, you will be less happy. As a result of being less happy, you might fall into a lower level of indulging in more pleasure, which in the end will only bring you more regret or less happiness. And the cycle continues unless you make a conscious decision to stop it and also find the willpower to see it through. You need the intelligence to make the right decision and the willpower to make it happen. You cannot succeed without both, in what Balthasar Gracian would call application and ability in The Art of Worldly Wisdom. You know, doing the things you need to do is equivalent to The Art of War saying, if the laws of war indicate that victory is certain, then it is surely time to do battle, even if the civilian government says there is to be no war. And the civilian government in this case is that side of you that wants to relax or put it off till later. This is why every action is a small war that depends on your strategy to find a resolution for peace. Or in other words, things just working out well. You know, things working out well will make you happy, but seeing others lose because of it and seeing some casualties on your camp should not bring you pleasure. Like Mastering the Art of War says, do not celebrate victory, but rather mourn the casualties and all the casualties, because a truly successful war would have no casualties. The highest level of the art of war is to achieve victory without battle. Sun Tzu says people think that victory in battle is good, but it is not. Victory without battle is good. Even if you are on heavy ground, but if it's not advantageous, but just for pleasure, a heavy drinker, and you stop cold turkey, you could die. And many people have. The same can be said of certain drugs. Penetrating into heavy ground should only be done on ground that is advantageous, such as working out, meditating, eating responsibly, treating people nice. If you have penetrated into heavy ground that is disadvantageous, you must usually go slow and carefully and work your way back, because it could be unbalanced. But if you stop gambling or smoking cigarettes cold turkey, you won't die. But the psychological pull is still fresh. And this is where your battle might lie. Although some people don't struggle at all, most will be tempted, and this battle will take place. Like Miyamoto Musashi said in the Book of Five Rings, and I hope I said his name right, a small dent has turned into a major warp. So you're on heavy ground. You have not handled what is difficult while it was still easy, like the introduction of Thomas Cleary's translation, or done what was great while it is still small, which would have been to never go down that road to begin with. Avoiding. It's better to avoid something than to come out of it easily. That's the art of worldly wisdom. But you battle it out little by little. At least the only casualties will be those of your enemy, which is that side of you that wants to do wrong, and those companies that are selling you garbage that doesn't give you nothing back anyway, casinos, etc., social media in most cases, none of which care about you. So that positive side of yourself will suffer no casualties. As a matter of fact, it'll expand and it'll grow. So you feel the pain at first a little bit within one side of you, but it will dissipate over time.